Hello everybody and welcome to Azumi Game Dev Log Week 6. I believe it's Week 6. I think I missed a week. I think it's technically Week 7, but fuck it. I'm going to make myself look better by saying it's still Week 6. I've got a couple things to talk about today quickly. Not a whole hell of a lot in terms of stuff that needs to be broken down. I haven't built anything as complicated as like the dialogue system from before, so there's no going to be huge breakdown of like this is how everything's done, nitty gritty. But there are a couple cool things that have happened that I wanted to kind of quickly go over and let everybody know that yes, the game is still happening, things are still good, progress is still being made. So really, the only two things to talk about are that I've moved the dialogue system out of that test area that I debuted and showed off, I think like a week or two ago, and have integrated it into the game proper. I have set it up now so that every scene, I guess you call this a scene, or layout, I suppose. I think layout's the proper term in Construct. Every layout can call its own array. Remember, the dialog system works with 3D arrays, so I have a new array here, and this is specifically for the arena test area. And so I've moved the logic that calls the Ajax file in that dialog system out of its own event sheet and have a separate call in every layout for each level. So each level can call its own cutscene array. So it's not like a huge giant array that's massive and takes forever to sift through. I can keep them simple by having multiple arrays for each area. So we can quickly look at that here. If we open it up, it's now integrated into that opening cutscene that you've probably seen a million times. You can see now I have some proper character portraits as well. So the portrait system does work. It doesn't just flip an image upside down. So, yeah, nothing amazing to look at, but it gets the job done. Then it transitions right into the usual thing here. And there we go. We can start playing the game. So another thing is that I have finished all three of the basic Azumi combos. Like before, when the game started, she had this one combo that you guys have seen a million times. Just a basic 3-hit, and it works. Of those guys, it works pretty well. Then I added, I don't know if I've shown this off in a video yet. I have two new combos you can chain into, kind of like Devil May Cry. They're all timing based. So the combo system in Azumi is a one button timing based combo system, a lot like the way Devil May Cry worked. And the reason for that is that, again, since this is a Sega Genesis styled video game, I'm trying to keep the controls limited to what would work on a standard Genesis controller, which is 3 buttons and a D-pad. So, some clever workarounds here and there, like the shurikens is up and attack, where this is just regular attack, and then if you want to do the kick, it's down and attack. So everything is kind of based on directions, timing, and buttons. So normally, if you just press the attack button quickly in succession, you're just going to get your standard 3-hit combo. So this is probably the most obvious one, what most people will be using for the majority of the game. However, if you do 2 hits, pause for a little bit, and then keep going, you can do a, now I can't do it now that, of course, I'm showing it off. There. You can do this kind of helm breaker sort of combo, which I've had for a little while. So you can either do this, or you can wait a second and do that. Another thing you can do, which you kind of see I already kind of started, is you do 1 hit and then wait. You can do kind of a trillion stab, a la Devil May Cry, because it's one of my favorite things to do in that game, so I had to have a reference to it here. You can see these get a little bit of screen shake on that last hit too, to give it a little bit more impact. So these all work in the game, so we can go over here, and they're all fully integrated. And so now it just, I mean, it's a little bit more complicated at this point than your typical Sega Genesis action game. Not many games that I've played on the Sega have a combo system this in depth. I still have this bug sometimes where enemies will just freeze like that. It's usually when you just graze them instead of hitting them. It's very strange. I still haven't figured it out. I've been trying really hard. No luck. It's part of a bigger issue that I've been working on for over a month now to get a more competent system for hit collisions to work, and every time I've tried to make the system better, it only makes it worse. But yeah, these combos work pretty well on some of the bigger enemies. They can take them out quicker than the standard 3-hit. So, I don't know. Everything here is pretty good, that small bug aside, which is annoying, but it is what it is. I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually. But the only other thing you might have noticed is that I took out the sparks when enemies are dying. Before, they would have like a bunch of small little hit icons as they went through their death animation. And I'm experimenting with taking those out just because it was like a lot of explosions and a lot of sound effects going on. And I thought maybe it was a little much. So I'm trying to tone it down. So instead of having tons and tons of explosions as I die, there's just the one when the animation finishes. Keeps it a little bit more simple, I suppose. And so far I don't have any issues with that. I might keep it that way, or I might change it back if I get bored. We'll see. But in terms of anything really more to show as of right now, other than like little tweaks here and there, like I've cleaned up some of Azumi's animation frames, pixel peeped, and made them a little bit better. One of the things you probably have not noticed at all, because it's probably impossible with the quality as low as it is I've changed the way Azumi's nose is on the idle frames to keep the face a bit more consistent. If you look at some of the older videos, her nose kind of moved up and down in weird shifty ways because just the way the sprite was compressed from the 3D render, it interpolated in some weird ways. So there's just little tiny like tweaking pixels here and there to make everything look a bit more consistent. Also just from the way, oh actually this is the most updated version of the file. It's the actual updated versions on my laptop because some of these frames are still a little pixelated that I cleared out. But I made all the colors on Azumi's fur consistent because the way that I'm using this is by indexing the colors in GIMP. Sometimes it picks slightly different shades. So I went through all the frames and made the colors consistent. And that's just pointless little touch-ups like that nobody's really gonna notice, but just for my own sanity I wanted to do. But yeah, that's really where we're at this point. I don't really have much else to say about it. New builds will of course be available for patrons. I'm thinking soon I might release a new version of the demo publicly with some more of these features, because there's been a lot of changes that make the game a lot more playable compared to the public demo that's out now. So much so that I feel that public demo is no longer a really solid representation of how the game plays. There's just so many small things like tweaking hit stop and the way collisions work and stuff that just make it feel better now to play. I think anyone who's a patron and is playing the builds weekly probably can attest to that fact. Plus, I also want to start posting on Game Jolt, so I might have a new public build at some point to launch on Game Jolt, and I'll update the builds on itch and Newgrounds as well, so that there's feature parity on all the platforms. But yeah, don't know when that'll happen, because I think I might want to add a boss battle or something and make it feel a bit more feature complete. And then from there, once that new version of the demo's out, which I think is probably better representative of the final product at this point, I'll just keep grinding away on the final game. And hopefully people will enjoy the new demo enough to support me on Patreon and help the game be made. Okay, I'm rambling. It's 5 a.m. I'm very tired. I picked a great time to do this. But yeah, I'm just gonna peace out now and go relax or something. Be the games you want to see. I'll talk to you all next week.